starting back up after a 5-minute recess.
Yes, sir. Sarah Callahan, 632 Scenery Drive, Elizabeth, PA.
Spell your last name.
Callahan. Okay. You know, I'm a little bit leery of even speaking because I've had threats. And people here want to know why no one's here because of for this project. And it's because we received threats. And the last commissioners meeting, I could barely get out of the building for someone blocking me and after me, and I had to take my finger and tap him on the chest and move him out of my way. And then I have commissioners, and they're standing up here making fun of me. Right? Hello?
You started.
I started it. You started it a long time ago. How dare you? Really? So, what I have to say is, and my family's been here since the 1700s. So let's bring them all up and let's say who was here first and who wasn't here first and all that happy worship. Because I know Similar wasn't here. I had him for a high school teacher. He was my teacher. Right, Sue? Right. Okay. As it goes, I am totally in favor of this, and I want progress in this township. I have worked for progress in this township for years and years. Help build fire halls, help build, get the municipal building from Beauty up to here. We worked our asses off to make things happen. Farms are gone. The only thing you got in farming is gentlemen farmers. Farming that was here years ago in the 17 and 1800s are long gone. So that's a history part that you don't even have to come to me about. And whenever somebody out here speaks, they all sit up there and start booing. So I already asked the police to give me an escort home, because that's what it's been like all this time. Mumbling away, booing, when somebody comes up here and wants to talk about progress in this township. That's a fine, how do you do? And what do they do? They put on Facebook with this fire blooming out that it was like, the place is going to burn down. My God, you know what they did? They did the same thing up in Cambridge County with Yoder. You know what they're after? They're there trying to get rid of the windmills for electric. They're not satisfied with anything. Nothing. Nothing's going to satisfy those people. Live with them. Thank you.
Thank you. Bill Smile?
It wasn't a fire, they were lights.
401. Bill Smiles? 401. Green something Avenue? Bill? Okay, if you don't hear your name called, you need to speak. Your name is Bill. Let me know. Moving on. Catherine Anderson.
My name is Kathy Anderson. I live at 2900 Cherry Drive. My husband and I live on a farm that his grandparents purchased in 1913. And our property borders the historic property for many hundreds of feet. a lot of people have said everything that I want to say, but I just have a couple of things that stand out for me. The first thing is that I've listened to the Peroni report before. I have a copy of it and I've looked at it multiple times. And I guess what I want to say to you folks in particular is that part of why I'm so lacking trust in your organization is because of the Peroni report. I live beside the historic property. I've been all over it. Everybody in the neighborhood has. And the portion of the property that is a junkyard. In the first place, it was probably the Castoros that put the stuff on the property. That's one thing. But the portion of the property with the junkyard and the mine entrances is the lower section, the 1902A175 section. The upper section, which is 1902B50, is beautiful second growth hardwood forest. And that's where you want to put the power plant, not down below. And unfortunately, or fortunately, Nick Cully came to our farm in March of 2017. He said a couple of things to us. One of the things he said is that he did not believe that you guys were going to remove the junk. There's a lot of junk. I have videotaped of it, I've seen it. It's really bad, and it's been there. But there's no guarantee that the junk is going to be removed. So that's one thing. And there's, it's bad. The second thing that Nick said to me, and this was a long time ago, is that one of the reasons why this township should want this power plant is because Invenergy is going to give the township money to run the sewer line up to McKeesport. That came out of Nick Cohen's mouth. Ever since then, everybody's gone dark on that issue. But to me, that doesn't sound like a very good thing. And in the first place, in the second place, so you get $19, $20, $25 million for that, that's not going to last a very long time. And in the long arc of time, that $25 million is going to disappear. And what you're going to have left is an industrial application. And it's going to change the character of the township. And I don't need to tell you that because everybody else has told you that. It's going to have a big effect on the neighborhood. It's going to ruin people's property values, and it's going to change the character of the neighborhood. So the last thing that I want to say has to do with the Planning Commission. I've been going to just about every township meeting for the last 2.5 years. I've been to all the Planning Commission meetings as well. And I have to say that I don't think too many of the planning people are here. I know Mrs. Hearn is here, but I was really disturbed by the Planning Commission meeting where they considered the Invenergy plant because there was no planning. There was no looking into it. There was no outside consultation. There was no discussion. Invenergy was there and answered all the questions, but Invenergy shouldn't have been answering all of the questions. The details of the power plant, its emissions, how it's going to be built, what's going to be needed to build it, the roads we're going to use to build it, all those things should have been investigated at the Planning Commission level, and they weren't. And nobody asked any questions with one exception. And when she did ask questions, she was not taken very seriously, and she was humiliated for doing that. And I think it was appalling. I really think things need to change. And I don't know why this township operates that way, but it's disturbing. And you all know that I have a huge stake in this. My husband and I have put everything that we have into our farm. And if you rezone the historic property, it's pretty much going to be worthless. So, not to mention the people of Smithville and the people, my neighbors who live on Yellow Road and Skillet Hill, and I can tell you that pretty much everybody is against it. I got about 90 petitions signed.
Thank you, Ms.
people up here talking. I didn't prepare anything. I am against this. One thing I do want to say is, with my job, I've been on a lot of turbine decks in my life. Every turbine deck I've been on has been very loud, very noisy. Outdoor ones, indoor ones. I don't care what you're saying. I would want one to be next to that. Even down the road from me. Where I live back on Christina Drive, I hear the car wash hit the BP. Nice summer day, I love my backyard, nice and quiet. Every once in a while, yes, I will hear that. That is almost a mile away. I don't think the neighbors of this place want to hear that. I don't think the people that go by on the trail want to hear a hum of a power plant up there. It's wrong. The rezoning of it, yes, a lot of people did bring up about what happens if this falls through. Why do we keep rezoning? We will change it forever. It's not going to go back. It's very hard to go back. And I don't want to go down that road where you have to fight to go back. That's why we put a stand up here now. As far as the people, we're in Elizabeth Township. We like where we live. We also have neighbors, and there are a lot of neighbors. And that is the one thing I would think too. We should be working together with everybody, even across the river, all the little areas. I like going through them. I go through them every day on my way to work. I can't say where I work, but it is in the power industry, so I know this. I know I support power. I truly do. I think this is the wrong location for it. That's what in looking through the rezoning, the little bit I did, I'm sorry I didn't do my homework, and I wish I did more. Because this did come up with me really quick. 5 o'clock, the 20th, really? Before Christmas? Bad day. The little bit I did look through, there was a lot of little inconsistencies that I didn't like in at least the zoning thing that should be looked into before we vote to rezone it. And I believe what the documentation online was the document that you're going to vote on in a little bit. I don't know, I had nods, something, I don't know on that one. But if that's truly the case that you are voting on that, we got problems. We're not getting where we want to be just on that alone. There's things about the height. I look at those pictures. I'm sorry, yes, they are taken there. They're skewed. They look very skewed. We live in a 3D world. I play video games. Okay, yeah, I'm a 40-year-old that plays video games, but when I look at them, they don't have any of that 3D that we can do nowadays. Give us something better. Show us proof that you're not going to see it. A stack from my house, I'm not going to see where I'm at. Yes, you're right on that. But it's going to be all the neighbors around there. Any building that you showed on those pictures, what, 2.5 stories tall right now with overgrowth? That overgrowth doesn't go 145 feet up. You know, you don't see that. And every picture I saw had trees there. Backyards with swimming pools. I don't want to see a power plant in my backyard. I do go past that one near 70. I see the power lines that they're putting in. The transmission lines that you showed on those pictures, really? That's not carrying the power. I don't know how large of a power plant they're putting in. Also the cooling water, that would be another thing I'd be worried about. The last time we went through this, there was the idea of going under the trail. Are you still going under a trail to get there? I know we're not fighting on that, but the point is, let's stop it before we get there. I'm not against you guys. Go build power plants, yes. What about something like a solar farm there? Hey, it would be low, it would be completely unintrusive, and the union guys back there that have been applying for everything, and I did overhear one guy even lives in Whitehall, is here applauding for this. I agree you're making jobs, and that is the best thing to do. But we can use our jobs in other ways. Okay, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
She left. It's a resident of Sittersville.
Oh, okay, thank you. Jennifer Zeke.
I'm a resident of Sittersville.
Ms. Lazarus, and where are you employed?
I'm employed at Hollandale's Farm, which is 321 Skillet Hill Road,
Elizabeth?
in Elizabeth. I just want to say, I teach horseback riding and train horses, and we have a full barn, full of horses, right there. I have students as young as 4, all the way up to adults, and older people as well. They're coming to the farm, they're seeing, and there's trails that we go that's way up on the hill. When you guys showed this view from Skillet Hill, the trail goes up, way up high, you can see for miles from there. That preview was ridiculous. And Kathy Anderson's farm, the same thing, the view that you showed was way down the bottom of the hill looking up. But if you go up into her field and up on top, you got a fantastic view of that big park there. Terrible, and that was such a misrepresentation. I've been on a lot of those different views. Around that area, and you're not showing it correctly. That was nothing. Just the sound and the noise, the smells, the lights, everything from there. It's really going to detract from that beautiful farm and all those people coming in there for recreation, riding their boarding horses, coming there with their kids, wanting to ride, wanting to enjoy nature, and you're going to put up this huge power plant, not even thinking about this. And this is bringing work into the township, it's bringing people in. I don't agree with it, so I'm against.
Jane Dushak,
Yeah,
resident of Cedarville.
yeah.
You resident or taxpayer, Elizabeth?
I'm a taxpayer. This
Okay.
affects
Hey,
me. I
you're a
deserve to
taxpayer in
speak.
Elizabeth Township, sir?
I'm a taxpayer. This affects me, and I deserve to speak.
I'm asking you a question.
I'm a taxpayer. This affects me, and I deserve to speak.
Joe Piscagona,
Shameless.
Sure.
Castagnoli, Castagnoli. Live at 29 Colonial Drive in Mount Vernon. Really want to address the thing, the same printout from 2 years ago. This is like deja vu here, and I erased a lot of it because before it was a variance, and now it's a rezoning, but they're using a lot of the same things that they tried to get around with the variance with non-conforming that they already talked about. So, just to touch on the concern of changing the zoning, this should fall under heavy manufacturing. It's already defined in the zoning ordinance. So it should be something that should be come up for conditional use. There will be zoning hearings and public input. Also, some of the things that are missing from it that are in the ordinance already that haven't been in this advertisement are about the 1,000 feet distance of a residential dwelling measured from any property border of the site. Also, with this minimum 50 acres in an M1, I don't know of any zoning area that is 50 acres, it's M1. So no matter what, you bring this in, you have to change zoning somewhere. So you're going to change it for this. And also, too, by doing this, changing the zoning here and setting the 10,000 foot distance, now you open up Mount Vernon again. And that, too, is being argued today that, like that one, this is non-conforming use of the land, same as Mount Vernon. And the same thing happened there, too, is a self-inflicted wound by the landowner that doesn't allow for a change. I'll break through this here. And it negatively affects the property values. 4 to 7% decrease in property value within 2 miles, 9% decrease if it's over 380 megawatt, which this one is. And power plants opening are also associated with statistically significant decreases in mean household income, educational attainment of the portion of homes that is owner occupied. There's about 727.1 million of total market value here. It's made up almost 80% of residential here. So you're bringing in an industry that's going to devalue your biggest revenue stream here. So that just doesn't make sense. Going to what Springdale's assessed at the 8.4 million. Invenergy could fight that because manufacturing only makes up about 1.8%. So they could argue that they're unfairly taxed based on the surrounding industry here in the township. And not only would this affect the present values, but it could also negatively affect future development within the 2-mile radius. Homes built between 2006 and 16 have an average market value of about $213,000. That's about 40 houses would equal what this one place would do at 8.5 million. And looking at a comprehensive plan where this is located, we're still up there. Within 2 miles of this is Route 51, it's a big transportation hub that we're close to, where this land should be developed for residential use. An article in 2016 in the Post-Gazette, Jefferson Hills is the only county in Allegheny County in the south that saw growth. All the other ones were either Cranberry, 4 out of 10, and 5 out of 10 were near the airport, major transportation hubs. So 51 is the best bet for a transportation hub. And in their comprehensive plan, which they put in 2010, they talked about a desirable place to live because of semi-rural atmosphere where people were out of the city, but not too far out. Only 11 miles down the road from Jefferson Hills. You're priced out of Jefferson Hills, you have 3 stoplights to go to get to Elizabeth Township. Also to talk about industries here, we could have a growing hospitality industry. Let's touch on the Gap Trail here. And just to show, Myersdale's been highlighted about embracing the hospitality. They only have a ton of 2,000 people, and last year they've had 7,000 registered guests come through there. But if you look at the data from the professor of economics at St. Vincent College, the Boston Trail in 2016 was used by almost 100,000 users. It dropped 35% to 66,000, while West Newton went from 73 to almost 100,000 users in 2017. So why have these numbers flipped? Is there more development in the hospitality industry in West Newton? And could this power plant discourage traveling between the 2 places? I hope to take into consideration everything I talked about here, and I think it will negatively affect our township. Sorry.
I've lived here 58 years now at the township. Some of my teachers are here. And my husband and I bought my parents' house when we got married. I told my daughter I could do this, but I don't know if I can.
You can do it.
And the rail opened. My husband and my daughter were in the Daily News. I don't know if it was the front page or not, but the picture still was in the first, the morning at the York Trail River North section pamphlet that opened. And I'm reading this and I'm looking and I'm saying, oh my gosh, this is like the best thing Daddy ever said. He said, this is the best thing to happen to the neighborhood since the rails went out of business. It's something positive. It means more harmony with the environment, something to take the stress away. And both of us did work in Pittsburgh. My husband's a professor at Duke University, and I work at Aldi's now. I used to work at Heinz. But I said, it is just amazing that I thought, oh my gosh, there's something good. When my parents bought the house, I was in 8th grade, and the windows would rattle when the trains went by. And then when this trail came, I thought, this is something different. Finally, we get something that, is about life. So it's not just industry. And I want to say that I know Jane, you're in the real estate business. How can we let our real estate go down? This is like we're sitting ducks here, this nice little quaint town, and people want to come in and just, cannibalize us, and it's awful. So I think, I thought someone had, we do need more development. In fact, in this pamphlet, it was the, sorry, I'm taking my time. It did say, what the goal of this trail was. It was development. Okay, here it is. The Occoquan River Valley will be a linear park with endless recreational opportunities, a catalyst for economic development, and a model of land use and river conservation. We are working to enhance the communities located along the river as good places to live for generations to come. And I did not speak enough about our teachers, because I know that they've gotten Hillman Foundation grants. We've increased our scores like 100-some%, you know, our rankings. So people that live in Wexford would, you know, buy these fancy houses. And my one friend called me and she said, "Where are you, some bird sanctuary?" I said, "No, not in my backyard." And so stop and listen to what's going on around us. Listen to the birds and listen and smell the nice. And I look across the river and I see the trees. Let's take advantage of that. But I do like the idea of the brewery. I'm thinking, like, is anyone going to go in on the tourist something like that? I just hope. I don't know. I know you, Jane. You know I've lived in the township. You must have some reason if you want to have this, but I just can't understand what it would be. And Kyle, I know Stephanie Walsh reached out to you with an email. She's back in the township. She said she'd volunteer to work something, to go outside. Let's get our town, all of us here tonight, let's come to more meetings. Let's, you know, do some thinking and helping this group out. That's all I have to say. So I made it through. I have one. Facebook, yeah, I do. I have a minute 30, but short of that. Okay. In the words of Joni Mitchell's 1970 song, don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you got till it's gone? They paved paradise and put up a parking lot. Please don't put up a parking lot.
Tracy, she left. Ted Bryce.
Flip the switch on him.
Somebody may switch on the light.
Okay.
There you go.
Ted Price, 1645 Scenery Drive. I'm going to start off with a shocker. Ready? A Supreme Court's justice definition of pornography is, you would know it when you saw it. The same definition can be used to describe the overreach of these ordinances before you tonight.
Speak louder, please.
Okay. The same definition can be used to describe the overreach of these ordinances before you. It is obvious that they go beyond reason. These ordinances are adulterating this process by asking for things beyond reasonable measure. If you look on the township's website, any screen you go will alternate between one of two images. You will either see an open green area of a golf course or Roundville Park, because these images represent what Elizabeth Township's comprehensive plan, and it is what these ordinances fail to abide by. Both of the ordinances before you tonight are well outside the reasonable exception as to what land use and buildable structures are allowed in this township. From ordinance number 820, in addition to the specific objectives stated in the comprehensive plan, some of the general community development objectives on which ordinance 820 is based, and which this power plant is amending, are A, to promote the interests of public health, safety, morals, and the general welfare. B, to secure safety from fire and provide adequate open space for life and air. C, to conserve and stabilize property values, and to preserve woodlands, open space, recreational, agricultural, and environmental sensitive lands from conflict with urban development. You're putting township residents at risk if you adopt this ordinance as written. Those that live near the plant, those that travel the bike trail, those that recreate on the river, those residents in towns across the river, as well as others. You are putting a river and trails at risk that are supposed to be preserved. Rezoning 147 acres that are surrounded by farmlands, green print, and conservation district is not consistent of how rezoning should take place. Also, according to the Planning Division of Allegheny County, in a letter dated August 2nd, 2017, she writes, special exception and conditional uses are usually reserved for lands uses that will have a significant impact on the zoning district for the whole community, or for those uses that necessitate additional safeguards. As a permitted use for a natural gas power plant that Invenergy is seeking would lack the local oversight necessary for this use. A permitted use is a use by right and allows no additional conditions for public hearings and to be held and to have this held to determine their validity. Some other examples of conditional uses, some were mentioned earlier, in an N1 district are landfill, like the one that was talked about earlier, oil and gas drilling, planned industrial parks, truck and heavy equipment rental. Uses by special exception include communication towers, equipment storage yards, junk yards, salvage yards. This is at a level higher than those, and it's going to be in a permitted use if you would accept the ordinance as written. The size of the structure written on the gas and electric power generating system ordinance before you is 145 feet for structures and 200 feet for a stack. That is well above any other structure in an M1 zone, which has principal structure rated at 45 feet and any accessory structure at 20 feet in an M1 zone, except for certain other structures. Note that when Invenergy wanted to build at Henderson, they applied to get a conditional use variance for height. Last year when they wrote ordinance, they wanted to get a waiver on building of structures associated with power generating systems. Now they're just writing it into a category separate from other businesses in the industrial zone. They can build to 200 feet, but others can't. This is exclusionary. They are getting a permitted use that guarantees height restrictions that others do not have. The commissioners have 90 days from today to vote on proposed ordinance. That's not 90 seconds, that's not 90 minutes, that's 90 days. You have 90 days to vote on proposed amendment. This is under section 208 in the section called action. Within 90 days of the date the public hearing on the proposed amendment is officially closed, the Board of Commissioners shall vote on the proposed amendment. You're rushing this through. I can't.
Mr. Grice, do your best. She has to take.
I get it, I'm trying, but.
Just stop your time. Let her.
When you're reading from something, you're reading extremely fast, and I can't understand.
I understand that. I understand that. I'm sorry. So do you want, so I was saying, within 90 days of the date, when the public hearing on the proposal amendment is officially closed, the Board of Commissioners shall vote on the proposed amendment. There was published November 19th of this year in the Journal of Medical Association of Pediatrics that there was found a direct link from NOx emissions and the development of an autism spectrum disorder. Nitrous oxides are a main air pollutant released from natural gas electric power plants, and Jessup has had violations. The other thing I want you to realize is that the thing that was from the Allegheny County Planning Commission that was written back in 2017, though this one was shorter, it was not because they were saying everything was fine. They weren't readdressing the issues that were brought up the first time. They were only readdressing the issues that were new to the ordinance. Thank you.
I believe it's Walt Brzezinski. Brzezinski, Jay Brzezinski, Annie Brzezinski, anybody? No Brzezinski? There being no other public comment, this hearing is adjourned.
Which paper did I sign?
I signed
There's
out
one.
up there.
Did you sign up for the special meeting? There's going to be another public comment. There's another public comment period, so for the special meeting, if that's the one that you signed.
Oopsie.
Did she want to sign it?
I only signed nine, I didn't, you should speak.
We were not.
Hold on one second.
will call the meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance and vote of silence.
Flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Take your seats. Roll call.
Here. Commissioner Walk. Here. Commissioner Prisma. Here. Commissioner Beckwith. Here. Commissioner Blake. Here. Commissioner Roberts.
Here.
President Evans.
Here.
All present.
Citizens to address agenda items. The first one is Cindy Rojo.
For the special meeting, the public comment will be an additional 3 minutes.
Is this a place where I could get the answer to my question?
It's still public comment. You
It's
can
still
just
public comment.
call me or see.
Okay, that's fine. Then I have, since we don't know the answer to that, as to what would happen if there was an issue with Invenergy and that you do rezone this, I urge you to table this vote on both of them. I agree with the attorney that spoke. There's a lot of information, there's new information that I have learned, and I know a lot about the procedures and what's going on. So I do urge you to table the vote. If you're not going to do that, I urge you to vote no on rezoning that piece of property until everything is signed, sealed, and delivered with Invenergy, including after the lawsuits and the appeals that are going to take place. I do remember at one time that the mayor of Sutersville said that you can't handle a Dollar General. How in the world are you going to handle some issues with Invenergy? Not my words, hers.
Amen. Elena Breaker.
There is the gentleman that spoke was talking about comprehensive plans. They were talking about committees. The last time I spoke about this. You're doing this ass backwards. We need to do a comprehensive plan, and then we need to put some of these other policies in place. So I do hope that you table this vote until you've all had a chance to review all of the information, ask the questions of the people that are experts. Thank you.
Merle Nancy. Merle Nancy Shotwell. Merle Nancy Shotwell.
He's gone.
He spoke earlier.
Okay, thank you. Jeannie Chrisman.
Not a resident.
Patty Hoffman.
Right there.
Okay, before I wait on the station road, remember I told you there were still people turning things in. Somebody had to work and on their way home, we're turning in some more. We've got a couple more Ward 6s on here, some Ward 1s, and I don't know what wards Circle Drive is. So they continue to keep coming in. People have them in their hands. They knew that the meeting was tonight, but they're still looking at these things and they are still signing these things. I heard from the commissioners at different commissioners' meetings that they didn't want to hear from 5 people or 10 people or 30 people, but they actually wanted to hear from more. This is more. This is more. Online is more. And we only did this for a few days. This is your constituents. This is who you are supposed to be listening to. Not them. They are not your constituents. You won't let the people from Sutersville talk. You won't let the people from West Newton talk. The that you let them hear and you let them say their piece. And from what you've heard from other people, what they're saying isn't true. We know that, we've seen that, we've researched that. Why haven't you? Or did you and you just don't care? I don't know. That's all I really have to say.
Alice Kerdorfer,
Am I allowed to speak at this one?
you're a township resident.
No. I am affected by the stuff from the plume that's gonna be coming over. We live right by Voyager.
John Driscoll,
There's another signature. There were a lot of people here that didn't sign too, by the way.
I think I signed up the wrong sheet, but here on the, you know, what I'm concerned about, what keeps me up at night, is the safety of the plant. I mean, this plant has one mistake. It could cause a catastrophic mistake, catastrophic accident. That could be very dangerous for all of us. As far as, I mean, especially since it's a 550 watt main fire. So the only thing I'm concerned about, I think, is that these stuff at night is just, if there's a potential catastrophic accident, which I didn't hear anything talk about that. So that's basically what I'm saying.
Jennifer Smith Taylor, yes.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Smith Keller. I'm new to Elizabeth Township. I took over my grandfather's farm last year. Hollandale Farm, which was number 3 on your map that you originally put up there for us. Thank you so much. So I'm right next to this place. So when you have your head down, when you're on your phone, this is my job. This is how I pay my bills. This is my business. Okay, this is my life. This is her horse. That's her horse. They're family members. They breathe this. I breathe this every single day. Them being there, they have shown more respect for the people talking than all of you, and we put you in your chair. Anyways, I looked up on my phone real quick the purpose of zoning laws. The purpose of zoning is to promote the health, safety, morals, general welfare of the community, to protect and conserve the value of buildings, and encourage the most appropriate use of the land. So when you mark your paper for yes for them, please make sure that you've actually looked at what you're supposed to be looking at and checking that off to rezone this. And please answer everybody to why you're voting yes for safety, which he just diligently brought up. If this blows up, that's my backyard. My kids are there. So if your 10 and 6-year-old are going to be affected, please let me know. No? Okay, I'll move on. General welfare of the community. I'm pretty sure we haven't really heard many negative things regarding you guys saying what? What are your answers going to be? Because I've heard it's what, 5-2? It's amazing to me. I'm from McKeesport. I'm across the river. This is all new to me. And I've grown up in Elizabeth. My grandparents live on Dorman Drive, and I've known that Elizabeth Forward Township is a place that I wanted to go to. I wanted to move to. I was so happy when I took over my grandparents' farm. Now I'm saddened. I am saddened that I have to be here. I am saddened that this company says they can choose to go anywhere else. They don't have to be here. But you are choosing for them to be in your township. You are choosing for them to destroy my life and many people around it, and you don't care. Stop. Thank you.
on the Syrian farm. On the second house in, I'm right next to the Ritters over here. I go out on my front porch and I can look right into those woods where you want to build your pen. No one's asked me anything about it. Matter of fact, Roger did 100 people asked if they wanted it bought. He said 80 people wanted it. Everybody we know of never got a phone call from. So where are you from these people? I have no idea. Your slideshow. I've been in that woods for 25 years. Your slideshow is a piece of shit. Over the hill from there, in the creek bottom, the mine opened up and the creek was running in it. You can look up through and see the timbers from both sides. So where you're getting your information, I have no idea. But I've run them woods for 25 years. Those junk vehicles were put there by Castora, not the mine people. The only thing was there was a couple buildings. The rest of the stuff was brought in. So I don't know what idea it's got. I'm looking right at your plant. I don't want it. My kids don't want it. I've been here for 25 years. It's peaceful, it's quiet, and I'll keep it that way. Jill Benjamin.
She had to.
Okay, thank you. Fred Bickerton.
I told you I'm angry. It's really bad.
Okay, I don't have too much more to add. Just a few items. I really think tonight you need to either vote no or table the vote until you have the details and studies needed to make an informed decision. It's obvious that you don't. Don't let the big Chicago-based company fool you like they have so many others into making a quick decision and giving them the right to do as they damn well please. Also, based on tonight's testimony, I can ask, when are we going to do something about the junkyard? We just heard the Castor put all that junk up there. He doesn't have a state permit for a junkyard. Why aren't we enforcing our own ordinances?
Clint Taylor. Thank you. Darcy Lewis. Darcy Lewis. Lynn. April Ball. April Ball. James Cubes. If I said that wrong, I apologize.
No, you actually got it right. This was James Hughes. Do I have to state where I'm at or anything? Okay. I just wanted to go on record, and I know you are taking notes on this, and it goes into the meeting notes that the way this was handled with the 2 sign-in sheets was a very big issue. A lot of people didn't know what they were signing up for and which one, especially since it was kind of scratched out up on top. That's all I wanted to go on record. And it does cause a problem even with people here. So take that in consideration that all the people are actually speaking to what they can. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Matthew Maxwell. Matthew Maxwell. Bob Thomas. Steve Wiskowski. Steve Wiskowski.
They left because you adjourned the meeting. Yeah, they left because you guys adjourned the meeting.
The hearing was.
No one here is
that sign that sheet that you weren't speaking for the public hearing.
Robert Philibon.
Good job, guys.
Bill Cochio.
Cho-cho.
Bill Cocho?
No, Cho-cho.
Cho-cho, Bill Cho-cho. Is he here?
No.
Christine, Dubik, Christine Dubik.
Why did you let me do that?
Hello again. I just wanted to address a few things I didn't expect to say in my first set of comments. I did want to thank you for listening to my comments earlier. I really appreciate the time, and who I really want to thank are the police officers here. I felt very safe coming to this meeting by myself and speaking at my township. So thank you guys, and thank you for your service. I really appreciate it. A lot of these, I just have a few comments going to say on my time. It just might not have a good flow like I had earlier. A few things from the presentation from the company was that they claim this site is ideal because it fits into the industrial footprint of our town. But where else is there a site with an industrial impact like this one would have? There's not. Another thing that they said, the only thing coming out of that stack is water vapor. I'm neither going to support or argue that that's the case. But that's not a big issue I have. What I have an issue with is combined with the lighting that the plant would produce, there would be a glow that would be seen for miles away. And so for all the people from Sutersville, West Newton, Sewickley, North Huntington that couldn't speak, I mean, this is for you guys because I know you have to look at it. I'm sure many of you have done site visits if you've been out to the site. I have not made the trek up that hill to be on the site and view the junk. But here's the deal, the junk doesn't bother me. I mean, if you go drive around Pennsylvania, that's about 75% of it is old cars. Sorry if that makes any of you offended. But that's not something that bugs me. But what would bother me is if I went over to Sutersville, all the way up to the top of the hill, I think that's 4th Street there, and then you're just out on a clear night and all you see is an orange glow. I don't want to see that. I go to work at between 6 and 7 in the morning. A lot of times I go over the bridge through Sutersville, and there's fog all the time. And I know that fog wouldn't be as clear if there's going to be a power plant with a lot of light pollution on the hill. That's just not what I want to see on my way to work. Whenever I talk about our town, I always say it's the first school, I say this every time, it's the first school district south of Pittsburgh that doesn't make you feel like you're living near a major city. And that's why my husband and I chose to have our family in this township. We love it very much. They say this is an ideal site due to the infrastructure that runs through the area, and that might be true, but a quick GIS search and you guys can find gas lines, water, anywhere that you need that's going to provide this, and I think there was a gentleman on Fallen Timber Road who made that very clear. So my husband and I didn't come to previous meetings because we assumed that you guys would shut this down very quickly and take care of it, but clearly that's not the case. I'm not sure why we're still entertaining this idea, because you can see the opposition that you guys have. Thank you.
Ted Grice.
I feel like there were a lot of disingenuous statements made tonight, from a 15-minute presentation about all the area that is terrible and looks horrible, to ending up that we're not going to build in that area. To have the areas that we aren't going to build in are going to become softball and soccer fields, and it's going to be great. To the fact that other people have to clean up areas they're not willing to clean up. The public meeting policy was adopted 3 days ago on Monday, and now it's being applied to this meeting when it says clearly on meetings that are scheduled and not the special meeting that says tonight. Other concerns about water, etc., are for another day, was what Mr. Sedek said. Well, the reality is If this is a permitted use, there is no local controls and there is no other day. So you can put it in through tonight and you can think that you have safety guards and you can think that you're happy and you can control what's going on, but if that's the case, you have lost all control. If this is passed, there are no local laws to look back at, and it's over. And as for DEA, or for Department of DEPA and the EPA, run together in a DOA. Allegheny County Health had 6,700 violations in its Clarendon Works in 2017 alone. After the Clarendon Works was fined $25,000 in 2016. They finally got $1 million lawsuit hit them this year, but that was after decades of abuses. They don't care. Maryland and Connecticut have sued because Pennsylvania is violating their air quality rules, and the EPA is not taking care of that. The EPA is not taking care of it. The DEP, which is also known as Do Not Expect Protection, is not going to save us. Allegheny Health Department is not going to protect us. The only people that can protect us are the people that's in front of us. And how that happens is you don't let this be a permitted use, and that is what we need to stop. Finally, I did a highlight comparison between last year's, because they're back every year, last year's amendment versus this year's ordinance to say what's the differences. And what highlights out at me that was just like off the charts, I can't believe that this hasn't been in there all along, was whereas the Board of Commissioners of Elizabeth Township has determined the township will benefit from job creation, financial benefits, and economic development opportunities created by the construction of natural gas power generating systems in the township. That was never in writing until this year. But yet we hear at the beginning of this, there's no discussions, there's nothing that's being discussed about that. None of that exists. So I see that there's no benefit and a whole lot of risk, and the reality is you have 90 days on this. Please don't do it tonight. Thank you.
Barbie Pastonic. Did I say that right?
No.
Sorry.
Oh, it's Barbie Pastoric.
You can turn it. I think you turned it off. I did.
Hi. Barbie Pastoric, 647 Scenery Drive, Elizabeth, PA 1537. First of all, I just wanted to say it can't be easy being public servants during these contentious meetings. I know it's awful. I think what we expect from you as your constituents is honesty, and I think there's some times when some of you might have to recuse yourself from certain votes because of money you may be getting for well reasons or whatever, but I mean, I feel like we could do that. I feel like the trust has been broken between you and the community, but I feel like it could really be mended by looking at all of the people that are the real resources in this township. And there are a lot of very intelligent people here that I never knew were around. You can't get a New York Times here, but boy, there's some smart people here. And as far as you guys go, I think it's kind of insulting that your slideshow is like an Etch-a-Sketch presentation. And photographs lie, and that's why you put them in there. You really need to do a video, because that would show exactly the 3-dimension, and we're in that technology. You have the money. You have a lot of money, and you should use it, and try not to be duplicitous. Also, when the professor was here and he stated that it was progress by putting the jail on the railroad tracks in Pittsburgh, when the train that Cindy Barr used to take when she was an accountant at Hines, and it made our township wonderful because we had public transportation for once. And they put the jail on there, and he thought that was a good idea. I think he needs to rethink that a little bit. And the other thing I would like to say is, I think that with the technology that we have today, that the commissioners could reach out to the community in a much more open way. You could even have meetings that are broadcast, that people can watch from their homes. This is ridiculous that we don't do this. And I can only imagine how much you loved it when people didn't come to the meetings because you could get anything passed. And the one other thing I would like to say is that a friend's sister said that she lived in Mr. Rogers' neighborhood, and I thought, that's foolish. But I used to work on the Mr. Rogers show, and after being in these meetings, we kind of do. The good parts are the Mr. Rogers neighborhood. And I think that we should try to reach out and make use of all of this resource. Thank you.
Greg, get back. Greg, get back. Jeffrey Probanik.
Hi everyone, my name is Joshua Probanik. I'm speaking on behalf of Jeffrey Probanik as his power of attorney. And I'd like to start by at least pointing out how disingenuous it was to have a sign-up sheet the way you had it up there. I wrote down my name tonight to speak on behalf of Jeff for the purpose of being recorded during your public hearing to speak about passing this, changing the ordinance for this power plant. It wasn't to sit up here and have you listen to me, have it unrecorded, and not go into record when it came to this case. But I want to reiterate exactly what that attorney said, which is you are in violation of the Pennsylvania Constitution with what you're doing here. Article 1, Section 27 holds you to responsibilities for the environment, and it holds you to responsibilities for the people's well-being in this community. You vote yes tonight on this, and you are you're what? You're violating those responsibilities. You're not living in a democracy at that point. You're not acting on the will of the people. You're acting on an arbitrary decision to do what you want to do for yourself, not what this community wants to do. You can see plainly tonight, any politician is built on polls. And the polls here tonight are literally 10-1 against this company. There was a 4-month process years ago, which I came and documented and recorded. When this company came, gave their presentation, they had their experts lined up, the opposing parties had their experts lined up, and through that whole process, what was decided? It was decided that this was not a good idea, and this should not be built here. And the idea that you're going to take that very democratic structure and destroy it through an arbitrary decision that's ran through the way you're ramming it through right now is the act of a dictator. It's not the act of democracy. You need to think long and hard about that. You need to think about the consequences that are going to happen if you decide to make that decision. If you decide to vote yes for this power plant, what's that going to make you liable for as representatives of these people? It ain't about just how long your job's going to last, because we know that's not going to happen. Power plants explode. Power plants emit pollution. They have all kinds of issues, all of which you are not even taking a look at right now before you make that vote. Just Google it on your phone, power plants explode, and see what comes up. I feel for the people who have to live next to this. I really feel for them. The fact that they're doing something great in this community with a farm and pushing this place in the right direction. You need to think that you should do the same. Thank you.
Harry Ritter.
Harry Ritter, 2900 Chwarian Drive. I'm going to make my remarks brief. You've heard quite a bit of testimony this evening. I can't really add much to it, but I do have one thing that I don't think was adequately highlighted. I am quite sure that Invenergy will grout the mine voids underneath their plant. I'm also quite sure that they will not grout the mine voids underneath my property, which my wife and I live on, which is directly adjacent to it. And I'm sure that they have the most advanced turbines in the world, but all turbines create vibration. What are going to be the consequences of that vibration on my property? Is it going to render it unusable? Is it going to damage it to where I can't farm there? Where I can't even cut the weeds? That is something I strongly urge you to take into consideration. Thank you.
Catherine Anderson.
Kathy Anderson, I live at 2900 Schwerin Drive. Everything's been said before. The one final thing I want to say is that we have a deck on the back of our house that looks out over the Yacht, and we look out over Cedarsville and Grasstown and down to Smithdale. And we know how the wind blows in this valley. We also know how the airflow goes. And I am really unhappy that you folks up there have decided not to listen to the people from West Newton and Cedarsville and Grasstown tonight. I think it's very, very sad. And I hope that we're better than that in the future. It's unfair. That power plant is going to affect them probably more than it's going to affect us. Because the wind blows back. It's very sad, and I don't know what else to say.
Okay, well, that's the end of the public comment. We will now move on to items for consideration. Number one is motion to ratify the advertisement of a special meeting to be held on December 28, 2018 at 5 p.m.
So moved.
Question on motion? Roll call vote.
Commissioner Simolo?
It's ratification. Okay. Just ratifying. Yes.
Commissioner Walk?
Yes.
Commissioner Kuzma?
Yes.
Commissioner Beckwith? Commissioner Blake? Yes. Commissioner Roderick?
Yes.
President Evans?
Yes. Number two, motion to adopt ordinance number 940 as a text amendment to ordinance 820 as amended by the ordinance 847 Elizabeth Township Code. The ordinance is known as the Elizabeth Township zoning ordinance to define natural gas electric power generating systems as a new classification to provide for natural gas electric power generating systems as a permitted use in the M1 Light Industrial District and to establish criteria applicable to natural gas electric power generating systems use.
So moved.
Second.
Question on motion? Roll call vote.
Commissioner Simolo?
I have to abstain for these reasons. I think we've learned something here that we owe it to these people and kids to sit down and deliberate. We've never done this. We've never talked about it. Certain individual commissioners have learned things.
Then say no.
No. Say no.
Don't abstain, say no.
Commissioner Walk?
Yes.
Commissioner Kuzma?
Yes.
Commissioner Beckwith?
No.
Commissioner Blake?
Yes.
Commissioner Roderick?
Yes.
President Evans?
No.
I'll change my vote to no.
Number three, motion to adopt ordinance 941 as a map change to rezone the approximately 146.7 acre parcel of land from the R3 medium density residential district and the R1 rural residential district to the M1 light industrial district, which parcel of land is now formally owned by CCC Recycling Institute and is generally described as parcels 1902B-50, 102-A-175, 1903-D-75, 1903-D-25, 1732-R-75, and 1732-S-100.
So moved.
Second.
Question on motion. Roll call vote.
Commissioner Simolo?
No.
Commissioner Walk?
Yes.
Commissioner Kuzma?
Yes.
Commissioner Beckwith?
No.
Commissioner Blake?
Yes.
Commissioner Roderick?
Yes.
President Evans?
No. Motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?